Know yourself, love your lower nefesh with all its mishigasin. Identify your unique, unchanging, and unchangeable traits. That's what we have gone over in the first three lectures of this series. Today, in our final installment, we're going to attempt to get into tachlis, some ways to begin to think about changing from the person you already know and love to someone even better. Of course, in the few minutes that we have, we can't give an accelerated course in midos development. But I would like to locate our discussion of midos under the rubric of tshuva. After all, the Rambam, in the seventh parak of Hilchos Tshuva, teaches that tshuva is not only related to deeds, to maisim, but to midos as well. To quote from the Rambam, one has to do tshuva from the negative midah of anger, hatred, jealousy, frivolity, pursuit of money and kavod, and the pursuit of food, etc. Let us think, what is the essence of tshuva? Sin and bad midos create a wall between us and Hashem. Tshuva is a mindset. I want to restore my relationship with Hashem. I want to break down the barrier. The Mishnah in Kedushin teaches that if one is mekadesh a woman, one betroths a woman on condition that I am a tzaddik gomer, a holy righteous person. She is mikudeshes. Why? Because perhaps he had a tshuva thought. Surely, in the few seconds that he had, he wouldn't have been able to implement the 20 parts of tshuva mentioned by Rabbeinu Yonah in Shari Tshuva, or even the vidui, which according to the Rambam is the essential element of the mitzvah of doing tshuva. He can be, however, a tzaddik gomer, based on his sincere resolve at that moment to move closer to Hashem. So our first step must be to have that resolve, and we become beloved before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tachlis. We all know the old joke. Giving up smoking is easy. I've done it 1,000 times. But I would like to share a couple of eitzos to help us make changes in our lives which have a chance of sticking. The first point is to do things gradually. The Gra says that one who jumps to a level which isn't appropriate sins, and in the end will be left with nothing and he will surely fall. Most of us already know this, yet we tend to make moves which fit our highest aspirations and not where we are really holding. Why do we do this? Why do we behave in a way which over and over again has proven itself to be counterproductive? I can think of a couple of reasons. Firstly, this is the Yetzer Hara's greatest weapon. The Yetzer wants us to set impossible goals for ourselves so that we fall flat on our faces. Secondly, we try to jump too high too fast because, believe it or not, it's our laziness. The road to change is not necessarily difficult because, after all, it involves slow and gradual movement. But it is long and arduous. Change means we are in this for the long haul. And yes, we must acknowledge that laziness itself is a midah, which can only be changed in small increments. We might really have to start everything by working on our ability to be consistent and persistent, slowly, little by little. Something else which might be useful is, I believe, a sense of humor. I think that we have lost our ability to be amused by ourselves. We should be able to say to ourselves after we catch ourselves doing something wrong, I did that. That was dumb. Notice we're not saying I am dumb, because that's not true. But we should be able to see the humor and irony of having fallen into a trap, which is unbecoming. At this point, I would like to share with you a famous chiddush of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. The Gemara in Menachos teaches that the sin of not fulfilling the mitzvah of wearing the white chutim, the white strings of tzitzis, is far greater than the sin of not wearing the tcheles tzitzis. It is much easier to obtain white tzitzis than tcheles. And Hashem, therefore, kaviyachol, is much more disappointed if we fail to do what's easy. We are used to focusing on the more serious, difficult parts of any given midah. We put our efforts there, neglecting the low-hanging fruits of the easier corrections we could make, which are there for the plucking. There are improvements that we can easily make. We could resolve to get to minyan only 5 minutes late, instead of straggling in 10 minutes late. We could resolve to spend a few precious minutes a day or week, even with each of our kids. Choose the midah, not your weakest, but one that you are relatively strong in, and make improvements on that. That way, you will acquire a sense of mastery and power, which can subsequently be carried forward to take on bigger challenges. To close, let me just remind ourselves that life is all about pleasure. It is the pleasure of getting to know yourself, learning to relax with yourself, and learning to coax yourself into behaviors and midos which are on the upward spiral of bringing you closer to Hashem. As the Maggid of Dubna said in his famous mashal in the pasuk in Yeshayahu, Lo oti karata Yaakov ki agata bi Yisrael. It is not me who you have called, Yaakov, if you toil, Israel. And the mashal goes as follows. There was once a person who paid a porter to go to the luggage section of the train to fetch his bag and bring it home. When he got there, the porter demanded a high price. The traveler asked, "Why so much?" And the porter answered, "Because it was very heavy." The traveler said, "You must have brought the wrong bag. Mine is very light." Says the Dubna Maggid, if you think that Avodas Hashem is proving to be too heavy a burden, this is not the Avodas Hashem I require. Lo osi karasa Yisrael ki agata bi. Our goal, to work on ourselves so that down the road, maybe by age 70, we will have reached a good level of perfecting our midos. In my case then, I'll just have to push it off till age 80.